Pain. My name's Rebecca, and I will be your therapist today. And I see on your notes that you prefer to be called Kelly. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. My name's Kelly, but a lot of people call me Kelly Joe.
They do?
Yeah, my papa in particular, he likes to call me Kelly Joe. I was named after my great-grandfathers.
Okay, well, would you prefer that I call you Kelly or Kelly Joe?
No, just call me Kelly. I think Kelly Joe's really country.
Okay.
So we'll just go with Kelly.
All right, Kelly. Well, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to explain our roles that we have today in our session. And, of course, as I said, I'm your therapist. But you're also actively participating in this session. And anytime you have a question, if you have any comments, if you don't understand something, I want you to tell me so that I can make sure that you understand everything that we're doing and that we're talking about. And it will be actively, between both of us, we'll be a team. If you want
I'll definitely ask questions. Okay. Trust me, I like to ask a lot of questions. I like to talk.
Well, that's good. And then the other thing, we have an agenda that I'm going to try to stick by. We want to start off with a mood check. I'll just kind of see how you're feeling today. We'll talk about your presenting problems. And we'll go into making some goals, and I'll explain a little bit of the theory that I use for our sessions. Kind of do a little educational piece to make sure you understand what's going on. And we'll give a summary, and also I may have some homework that we can talk about.
Okay, because I sure do have lots of problems I can tell you about.
You do?
Tons of problems, yeah, so I'm going to be talking your ears off.
Okay, well, we have approximately about 15 to 20 minutes today, and I'll let you know when the time starts to run short so you're not taken by surprise.
Okay, that will be fine. But if I need more time, I'll just have to buy it, I guess.
Well, we can work something out, I'm sure.
Well, I'll try to keep it short.
Okay. Well, the first thing I do want to do is check on your mood and just kind of see how you're feeling today.
Well, today, I just tell you, that teenager of mine, I could just hang him up by his toes. That right there, if I could just get that settled for a while, I think I might get some common ground with him. I think I might be okay.
Okay, so you would say you're kind of feeling frustrated?
I'm frustrated and stressed and can't sleep and just, really, just snappy. I just snap at him all the time.
Okay, and I guess the biggest thing would be your frustration. On a scale of 1 to 10 with your frustration, how would you rate that?
Well, 12, of course. 12? Yeah, frustration with a teenage boy. Who ever said girls were hard to raise? Boys, they're hard to raise.
Okay, so you're really having some frustration issues. And I noticed you mentioned your sleep, that you're not sleeping very well.
No, not sleeping well. I think I'm just stressed with him all the time. And just, just the daily life stuff that...
Okay.
And I'm just stressed. I'm just stressed, not sleeping really good at all.
Well, and it seems like maybe the not sleeping, a lot of times that can also add to your being more prone to be stressed. So that's something we need to kind of get balanced out. So you're getting the sleep that you need, but you're also able to, deal with your teenager, deal with your child, and kind of get to where you need to be.
That'd be great. That would be great. I've got to get some sleep.
Okay. So you said that you're very frustrated, you're stressed out, and that kind of leads me right into, the main reason that you're here today, the presenting problems. And I know you did mention it has to do with your teenager, but can you clarify a little bit about what's going on with him?
I think it's racing hormones.
Okay.
He just can't. Anything that I say, he just disagrees.
Okay.
He's right, I'm wrong. We can't come to common ground on anything. Curfew, he's just, I feel I give him everything, and he feels that we're too strict.
Okay.
And he wants to do things that I don't feel that is appropriate, but who knows? Just who knows what is he really wanting? But we've got to come to some type of common ground to figure out what we can do to just make our life just a little bit easier and not fight all the time.
Okay. So it sounds to me y'all have a lot of little things that y'all disagree on, but it's all added up to be a very big stressor.
Oh, yes, I could just hang him up by his toenails.
Okay. Okay, well, let me remind you that I am a mandated reporter. So anything that you say, if it is something that would leave me of concern, I do have to make a report.
Well, hang him up by his toenails, I'll just tell you what.
Okay. So, I know you said you have some communication problems. I believe I heard you say that. Is that correct?
We do.
Okay. And do you feel that maybe it's just he's not listening, or that y'all just
we just can't agree.
Okay,
we just can't agree.
Okay.
We can't because he thinks that we're just so strict.
Okay. Well, and you know, how old is he?
He's 15.
He's 15. And that is very common for 15-year-olds, for teenagers. They're going through the changes in the school and the peer pressure and friends. So that is, it is something very common. But it can also be very frustrating, and I see where you're having some struggles with that, and that's perfectly understandable.
We've got sexting going on. We have, things that are going on the computer. So we're having to watch that, limit that. We're having to put curfews on his phone, things like that. But things that we're trying not to be unreasonable about. But sexting's a little bit. Some things that he shouldn't be doing.
Yes, and that's true. That's very true.
He's going to keep on and get himself in trouble. Lying, not letting us know what he's going to, trying to do things behind our back. Which, I mean, it's not that he's a bad kid, but
Right.
I think we've got some peer pressure going on, things that he wants to be out doing, the grown-up stuff, and he's just not ready for.
Right. Well, and I can see. I'm glad that you just mentioned that you know that he's not a bad kid. Because that kind of does let me know that your perspective on your child, that you do still, feel like he is a good child. You're just having some issues right now of dealing with, and that's a positive thing.
Yeah, I told him that he can start considering doing these things when he's free, white, and 21.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one thing that I would like for you to think about is some goals that we could set. I know your big goal, like you said, your overall goal would be to have better communication with your son. But I think it would need to take little steps and little goals to get to your big goal. Is that something that you would agree?
I can agree on that.
Okay. So I want to get your feedback and kind of know what you think the first goal that you would like for us to work on would be.
Me just trying to understand.
Okay.
What I feel that I understand what it's like being a teenager, but today's time is so much different from how long, when we were teenagers. So,
Right.
it's just understanding the peer pressures and things that he's going through,
Yeah.
but still also be a parent
Mm-hmm.
and understand what he's going through. I mean, that's my main goal. And like I said, for us to be able to come to common ground, and I just don't see it at this point being able to do it by ourselves. At some point that we're going to have to work with someone to be that person to mediate between us.
Okay. Well, and I admire you for the fact that you have realized that you do need some mediation, that you need some outside help. And that also gives you kind of an unbiased position between you and your son, somebody who's looking in from the outside and can see, kind of what the situation is and what might need to be done to help the situation. And one thing that I think we could do is to work on maybe have some sessions with you and your son together after we've done some individual sessions.
That would be so great.
Okay.
That would be great. Just got to help me remember to keep an open mind.
Yes, ma'am. And really, that's the theory that I use, the therapy that I use is called cognitive behavioral therapy or cognitive-based therapy. Have you heard of that? Are you familiar with that term at all?
A little bit, but not much.
Okay.
So, if you could just help me with that a little bit.
I'm part of what that is. Your emotions are linked with your feelings and your actions, and your presenting circumstances also control your actions. Your thoughts control your emotions, and basically an example of that would be, your son gets in late for curfew one night, and your thoughts, you're thinking he's going to do this every time. I can't trust him anymore. And so you start having just different emotions, whether it's anger or frustration or whatever your emotions may be. But in turn, it could just have been a one-time thing. Say he could have gotten, there could have been a wreck and he could have got caught in some traffic. But your thoughts at the time were he's came in, he's always going to be late. And so your emotions lead towards the distrust, the anger, the frustration. And that's one example. Does that make sense at all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's one thing that we will do during our sessions is to talk about your thoughts and your feelings and how your attitude and how it does play on your feelings and your emotions and your situations, as well as your son, and we'll do some of that together with him when you come in.
That would be great.
Okay.
That would be great because, a lot of our problems are right now is because his friends their parents, pretty much just turn him loose.
Right.
And with his friends driving and him not at the time, I guess our thing is, we're not going to turn him loose like some of these other parents, and that's just where we are. I want him to be social and think, do the things he needs to do as a kid, but he has to remember he's a kid and he still has rules and regulations that he needs to.
Well, and it sounds like you really
not really regulations, but just rules, common rules.
Right. And it sounds like you really care about your son, and you want to be a parent that takes care and makes sure that he's safe.
I do.
And that's very good, and that's a very positive thing for you.
He is my baby, even though I do want to hang him up by his toenails.
Yes, ma'am. And our time is almost up, but just real quickly before we end, I know we mentioned your goals, but what are some of your expectations that you might want to get out of counseling? What do you
Basically, us being able to handle it, being on common ground and being able to, because I know these are the harder years, and I know that I've got to let him fall and make his mistakes. But as a parent, that's hard. But I want both of us to understand what we have to do to make our lives easier for both of us, and that we can agree to disagree on some things.
And that's a good way to put it, that you can agree to disagree, as long as it's he's not in danger and that he's safe. There are some things that you can agree to disagree on as a parent and child.
Okay.
And I do have a homework assignment for you this week. Just talking about everything that we've talked about. One thing that I want you to do this week before you come back is to write down 3 of the top conflicts that you have with your son this week.
Okay.
Do you think that you can do that?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. And then next week when you come back, we're going to look at those 3 things and kind of explore a little bit more about why they may have occurred, see if there's a pattern going on with the situation with the conflicts.
Okay.
And then we'll look more into that.
Okay, that sounds great to me. So I'll see you next week?
Yes, ma'am. And in summary, just to go over, make sure I didn't leave anything out, you did let me know that your most presenting problem right now is the frustrations with your teenage son. Just feeling like you don't know how to communicate and that y'all have some barriers there. And we discussed a little bit of the education about the theory that I'll be using, as well as I gave you a homework assignment to do, and you will write the 3 top conflicts that you have this week. Does that all sound like about accurate?
That does. That sounds great.
And do you have any questions or anything that maybe you didn't understand or that I didn't answer for you?
No, I think everything's good. I think we meet next week and talk about the things that we are most frustrated about this week, and that would be great.
Okay. Well, I will see you next week then.
All right. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.